So my name is Adam Kebeck, and I'm the Customer Support Manager for Events. Today we'll be walking through our new October events release webinar. Michael already beat me to the punch, but this is being recorded. So for anyone who missed this or wants to rewatch the recording, we'll be sending a link to the webinar following this event. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a chat in the chat window, or following each feature, enhancement, bug, I'll leave time if anyone wants to speak up and ask questions as well. You guys excited, ready to get started? I'll take that as a yes.
Woo!
So I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. We want to make this as interactive as possible, especially we have some new fun features, and we really want to get your feedback on them. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And quick show of hands, who has already downloaded and installed the new 3.4 new October release for events?
Of course.
Awesome. So starting off, I just wanted to start off with the release notes with a couple of breaking changes. With the new Salesforce Winter 2020 release, if you're on a version that is older than 2.85, you will either need to upgrade to our latest event package or create a custom permission set for your users. This impacts custom questions, cloning, and our community component. The backstory here is the Winter 2020 release impacts all of our Aura-enabled Lightning components. So if you click into here, make sure you include all of these Apex classes in your custom permission set if you're not upgrading. Additionally, if you upgrade payments first and are using Stripe, there is a breaking change in terms of updating your API. So please reference our payments documentation if you are using Stripe and have upgraded to the latest payments package. Any questions on those two breaking changes before we start going into features? Awesome. So one of our first features that I'm super excited about is our new email template builder. Please note this is our first step in a really awesome feature, so we really want your feedback on this. If you see something's clunky or not working in a certain area, please provide your feedback so we can make this a better experience. Also, we are sending these emails using Apex, and please note that tracking email metrics is on our roadmap, but not yet available. This is on our roadmap for end of year using SendGrid, and this will track opens, clicks, etc. So let's quickly show you this. We'll show a live demo of this. So if I go into any event, there's a new related list you want to add to your event layout. It's email templates. This gives you the opportunity to send emails. These could be event invitation, reminder emails. You can send this to a list of attendees, or you can send it to a specific attendee. So there's two buttons you want to add. There's one on the event called send email. And then I'll go to the attendee as well. And you want to add that same button to the attendee record as well. So with this in mind, this allows you to send responsive email templates, no code required. You don't have to write any custom HTML or CSS. You can still do that, but this literally gives you drag and drop functionality, enabling any end user to build their own templates. So let's get to the fun part. We'll go into email templates and we'll click new. You can either start from scratch or use one of two existing templates. In this case, we'll use new from template. And you'll search for standard. We have two options. One is a light invite and one is a dark invite. You might have a question, how do I get these templates? Let's see, Anders is asking, is it possible to lock areas in the email template builder? I will actually check on this and get back to you on this. And then to generate those email templates, you would go to the Events Admin tab. and then you'll go into metadata updates. You'll see a new button called create email templates. This will load some light and dark theme email templates to use for your event emails. I won't click that again because I've already created those templates. So we'll go back to my event and we'll click the drop down next to email templates and click new. And we'll do new from template, search for standard, and we'll do the dark invite. And this is what I'm most excited about for this October release. So on the right-hand side, you'll see a number of components you can add. You can add rich text. You can add an image. The image is super sweet because you no longer have to navigate back to files, upload the file, create a public link, and then go back to the event. You can do this all in one screen, which is pretty awesome. We also have a button where you can add a direct link. So in this case, we already have attend event down here, and this is a dynamic button. So it pulls in, it'll pull in a URL. So in this case, let me show you one of our other templates. So this was an actual template that was already sent out to attendees. So if they click into attend event, this takes them right to their unique attendee link URL using merge fields. So it already has my information populated. Let's go back to that event builder. So say I want to add in an image. Let's drag and drop this image here. As you can see, you can drag and drop. I'll put that at the top. And I'm going to upload this file from my desktop. So I'll click upload. This is what I love. You no longer have to navigate back to the app picker, go to files, upload the file, make it public. You can do this all in one screen. So we'll click upload. And we'll upload that file from my desktop. And we'll click insert. So that adds that image. Say I want to add in, let's scroll down and I want to add in a section. Say I want to add in a footer with different sections. So I can go to rows and say I want to add in a little help text, and then I want to add in social media. So I'm going to drag this component to my footer. And right in the left box, I'll add some help text, so some rich text. So we'll drag that text component. Say, check out our awesome social platforms. And just to make that text a little more readable, we'll change the color of the font. We'll change it to white. Now in the second box, I'll drag in social media. So we'll go to content, and we'll drag in social. If you click into that component, you can actually add your direct link to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. In these cases, I'll keep those general links just to show you how it works. Oh, and then Brenda, good question. So you said, where do files reside after being uploaded? I'll go to files. And it'll be under that files tab. So just like before, when you created files here, our event email builder automatically adds those files. So we have our social media component. Say now I want to get a little crazy and add a video. So say we have an intro video to prepare people for our event. I can drag in, let's drag the video above venue. And let's go to YouTube and find a general events video. So let's do intro to. So let's take this video and we'll click into this component, and where it says video URL, we'll post the URL to our video. So this will show up right in their inbox when you send them that invite. So we added a video, we added a footer with our social media platforms. We can add a new divider. So say I want to split add a divider between event details and our video. So I can drag and drop a new divider. Also, say you want to add a menu. You can drag a menu as well and add in different tabs. So I can add in, say like if I want a link to go to our venue, I could put a URL that links directly to the venue. Say I'll add in another one for event information. Same thing, you can link to different external links from that menu. And you can see those little menu items populate here now. Last but not least, we still have the option to add custom HTML. So we'll drag in this HTML component. They're not dragging, one more time. And you can see here's where you can enter that custom HTML. So you still have the option to create those HTML components. Any questions before we save this and actually send this template? And also, does anyone have any use cases they would like to see in this builder as well? I do want to dedicate a lot of time to this feature because it is new and we really want your feedback on this. No pressure. Does the event tab show automatically, or you have to add that menu? Sorry, what do you mean by that, Brenda? Like speakers, etc.
Maybe it's better if I unmute.
Yep.
You know how when you create your event on your page, if you have speakers, I don't know the different.
Oh, that's all set up via your event. So once you have your event set up, then you use this to actually send out those invitations or the event reminders.
Well, I didn't know if it automatically pulled into there, or you had to do that via the menu you just demonstrated. Like you did the menu for
You could do that on the menu if you wanted to link to speakers, correct?
Okay, so it wouldn't automatically pull in here. You have to actually bring it onto here if you wanted it to show. Okay.
Correct. Because this template, what this template does is it pulls in a banner image, it pulls in the event details so you can see all of these merge fields. So they're pulling right from the event. It also pulls in the venue details from the event as well. And then it pulls this button in that will reference the attendee link URL.
All right, thank you. This is pretty cool.
Awesome. And then Laura, your question on the attendee link URL button. So in this case, you would need a merge field. So let's grab this merge field and we'll click into this attend event. So that's our button. You can also add in a new button as well and customize that with URL, color, sizing. But in this case, we'll use the button we already have. And so in URL, we want to put that merge field. And instead of using venue name, we want to grab that attendee link URL. So I'm going to the attendee object just to grab that API name. And Anders, correct, you can reuse the uploaded image because that does add them to files. Then we'll go in where it says Conference 360 venue name. We'll replace that with the API name. And that way, when we send out that email, we'll show you how that opens up. And then Rachel asked, can these emails be triggered by registration or are they manually triggered? Right now, these are manually triggered. But we do have some automation. So in this case, say the attendee has a status of 2 invite, and we send out this email via the email template builder, it will automatically update their status to invited. So we do have some automation there, but they cannot be triggered by automation right now. And I hope that answered your question too, Theban. And then Anders asked, a nice way forward is to make it possible to reach API names of the fields directly from the template. Very good point. I'll make sure to note all this feedback as well. And then Kevin, again, these are manual sends right now, but I will take this feedback back to our product team. And then great question on whose name are the emails that go out. You can send that from the user or from org-wide email addresses. And I'll show you how that works once we click save. Any other questions before we go in and save and send this? Awesome. So we'll go in and save this template. And we'll add a subject, you've been invited. We'll do test invite email. And save. Unique name. And a quick note on the email template automation. If you are using our automated email for sending invites, you will want to turn that off. So I'll show you under email alerts. So if you're using the send Blackthorn event invite email, you will want to turn this off because what this email template builder does, it automatically switches the status, the registration status of the attendee from to invite to invited. So if you have this active, it will send a duplicate email. But in this case, I'll keep it on just to show you those 2 emails that fire. Oh, and then Aaron, I believe the tool creates a classic email template, so you can use, yep, to send it from there ahead of our SendGrid integration. Thanks for that, Aaron. And Aaron, do you know if we can clone this to other events? And Anders, correct. As you can see, if any user goes into the event, you'll see these email templates and they can choose for any of these 2 templates assigned to this email. And Brenda, I will take feedback to our product team to see about cloning this to other events. So the ability to use this email across different events. Is that correct? Okay. So now let's go in. So let's see if we want to send this invite to all of our attendees that are with the status of 2 invite. So let's go in and make Adam, we'll make him 2 invite. Now let's make one other attendee 2 invites. So we'll send 2 of them invitations. So we'll make Brett 2 invite as well. So we'll click the drop down, we'll click send email. And here's the question about who does the email come from? So I'll give it a second to load. I can use from current user or from an org-wide email address. So right now we have 2 org-wide email addresses, Jason and Joe. In this case, I'll just send from the current user who's my logged in user. We'll search for our email template. So we'll do test event email 3. And here's where we'll filter by the registration status. So in this case, I want a registration status filtered by to invite. So only those attendees that haven't been invited yet. And this will give a preview of those 2 attendees. So we have Brett and Adam. Before we send this email, we can actually preview it. Uh-oh. Let's try that again. Theben, can you elaborate on that question, please?
Might be easier if I just speak.
Okay.
Most of our events, we don't necessarily preload the attendees, so it's never going to be invited. It's just an open registration. So can we use these emails?
Yeah, you don't have to filter at all. You can send it to all of those attendees on that event, or you can filter.
Even we use a similar system. We don't pre-register anyone, but what I'm seeing I can use this for is once people have registered, sending that reminder email.
Yep.
And with a Zoom link, because let's face it, everything's virtual these days. So it would be a good way for me to follow up with everyone who has registered.
Exactly. Yep. It's not just for sending invites as well. You can send those follow-up reminder emails once you actually have those attendees.
And then it looked like on the attendee filter, I could limit it by who actually attended. So attendee status, sending that follow-up, thank you for showing. We really appreciate you. Here's the link to the recording or whatever.
Yep. Theben, did that help answer your question?
It did that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. And Anders, so from the firm addresses using Salesforce standard, that means it can't be sent from the event owner's email address if not org-wide. So the 2 options right now are sending from the current logged in user or the org-wide email address. And we will take, Anders, did that answer your question? Okay. But we will take that feedback. Any questions before we go in and send this email? So let's go in and send. And just a quick note, if I didn't add this filter, this email would go to all 36 attendees. And my limit left in this org is 494 for the day. So let's change this back to registration status of to invite, and we'll send this invite. Well, I think we found a bug. Let me try one other template for preview. There we go. So before you send out that email, you can actually preview. So it pulls in test event data. Have our video, you can click in. Takes you right to their attendee link URL. That's using that merge field that we added. We have our social media as well. So now let's go in and send this. Oh, and a quick comment from Aaron. Once you create a name, a template, it's available in the lookup when you create from new. So let's actually go in and click email template. And we'll click new and then new from template. And you can actually select one of those new templates that you created and then use it from there. So I think that was a question from okay. So Anna says much easier than Pardot. Brenda agrees. That's awesome. And thank you for that, Aaron. Super helpful. So now let's click out of here and we'll go to our attendee. So we'll go into Brett's attendee right here. And you'll see under activity, you want to make sure your attendee related list has the activity related list. So if we click into activity, we'll actually see that invite. So we'll click into that invite. It says who it's from to, has all the content of the actual email. Any questions on viewing the email that was sent in Salesforce before we show this from my actual Gmail? Let me open up my Gmail and actually show you what that email looks live. So this is just one example. So we have our banner, social media, so they can click in, say they want to view your LinkedIn. They can click right there, open up that social media platform. Same with any of the others, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then we scroll down, we have all of our event details, venue details. We also have this super slick video that we've added. Could be an intro to your event. So they can click in and open that video right from that invite. And here's our button where we added that dynamic attendee link URL. So if they click into attendee event, in this event, I don't have it configured, but that would take you right to that correct link. Let me open up the one that we sent to my Blackthorne user. The image was broken, but just to show you how that button works. So if I click into that button, it takes me right to the attendee link and has all of my information pre-populated. Any questions on that? Are you guys excited with what you've seen?
Quick question on the limitations for the list, for the email. Does this fall under those the list email limitations for an org?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the email limit. Can you explain a little further?
Yep. I'll open up. And Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's 5,000 a day. Oh, thank you, John. Yep. It's typically 5,000 per day, and that's across the org. Did that answer your question, Rachel?
Yes, thank you.
And that shows you live. So you might have multiple back office staff sending emails through the event email builder. So when you go in and go to back to that event and click send email, I think you've already seen this, but just to make sure. So it shows that org limit. Anders says, I'm very excited and scared as I don't want all my users to be able to edit the whole email. So I'll follow up on that, Anders, to see what we can lock down based on permission sets and based on permission. Okay. So Aaron, will that 5,000 limit be lifted? Brenda, correct. It's based on the permission set that's assigned to your users. And I'll get more information on that as well. Any questions on the email template builder before we move on to event keywords? That's a very good note, Theban. Having admins create those templates, lock down access, and only allowing users to send them and not create them. So our next feature, which I think is pretty cool, is we have implemented the ability to add keywords to an event. This will allow an attendee to sort through events by a specific keyword. So an example use case would be you're hosting an outdoor event and you want to use keywords such as barbecue, outdoor event, grilling, cookout. Adding these as keywords will increase searchability of people looking to attend your event. So step one is you want to navigate to your event group. There's a new dropdown that you have to manually add as a pick list value to the UI experience, and that's Aspen. So you'll navigate to the field in the back office, you'll add that Aspen pick list dropdown value, and we'll select Aspen. We'll save that. Now if we go back to our event, there's two things you want to add to your event layout. There's this manage keywords button, and there's also this event keywords object as well. And this is a junction object. So anytime you create keywords from this manage keywords, it creates these junction records for event keyword that links the event to the keyword record. So for this event, we have two keywords, virtual and online. You'll notice this keyword category. This actually assigns specific keywords to a category. So when you're on the event group and you want to search by, say, I want to look for type, virtual, or online, I could link those keywords to that category, and I'll show you how that works. So let's go in and add a new keyword. So we'll click Manage Keywords. Let's add in higher ed. And then let's add another one for conference. We'll click Save. And then we'll click Back. You'll now see we have 4 event keywords. None of those are tied to a category yet, and I'll show you how this works. So we'll go back to our group. We'll open up that event group URL, and we'll do a hard refresh. And you'll see our brand new event group URL. Oh, this might be a bug here. Give me one second. Okay, but I broke it already. Bear with me for half a minute. try one thing. I'll switch to my other demo org. Sorry, I'm just looking at a couple questions too. Manage keywords. So Kelsey says manage keywords doesn't show up as an option in my dropdown, so I need to set this up as an object. Hey, Kelsey, can you please elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear
Okay.
you.
So yeah, I went into the drop down option under just one of my regular events, and it gives me like financials, budget, and all that stuff, but I don't actually see manage keyword or event
Okay.
keyword.
So I can show you how to add that. So we'll go into our event layout. And we'll go to our page layout.
Okay.
And then there's two things you want to add. First is the button. So if you go to mobile, if you're using Classic, you can use buttons. If you're using Lightning, click mobile and Lightning actions and search for manage. And it'll be this manage keywords, conference 360 _ manage keywords.
Got
And then
it.
you'll, yep. And then you'll also want, you did find the button now?
Correct. I just
Okay.
dropped it down.
Awesome. And then you want to add the related list for event keywords, and that shows all the keywords tied to that event.
Thank you.
No problem. Correct, Brenda. This is actually at the group level. It's a new UI, so they have to be assigned to a group. Aaron, if you're on, do you know if our update this morning had any changes on the Aspen UI? Because all of these keywords are keywords that are not assigned to a category. So essentially, I would click into any of these keywords and be able to view those events. Let's try one more thing. So we'll go into the app picker and find our keywords. We'll go in and assign those to categories just to see if that resolves our issue. So for conference, we'll put that under type. Higher ed. Just for now, we'll put that under industry. Outdoor event, we'll put that under type as well. And then virtual, we'll put that under type. Or we'll do location. And then online location as well. And then golf, we'll just do interest. So now that all of those keywords are assigned to categories, I'll go back to my event group. We'll do a hard refresh. And then John's asking, is it possible to use the keywords for event search on the external calendar outside of Blackthorne? And that's correct, John. These are to be used on the external, are you meaning on the event, the actual event group calendar?
Yeah, so what we're looking to do is possibly use keywords for events that we're going to be posting on it's like a master calendar for our university. So they have some search features there, but we're looking to use the keywords to help kind of help direct people to search on that university master calendar.
And are you using iframes with a visual force page?
You know, I am not familiar with the development on that master calendar. I couldn't tell
Because
you.
you might be able to reference the keywords if you are using iframe, but right now this is built into our event group functionality for your event group.
Okay. And what would the requirements be again on an iframe?
If you have our events within an iframe on your community or website, I would have to check on this, but you might be able to filter by keyword just like you can for category and event group.
Okay. Well, we could get back with you on that. I don't want to.
Okay.
What's up? Thanks.
Anders, that's correct. It'll be FLS based on the keywords and event keywords. So essentially you could create a group of keywords and then allow end users to create event keywords, or you can lock that down. But it is custom objects, part of our package. Keywords and event keywords. Event keywords is that junction object that relates the event to the keyword object. Really bummed that this is not working right now. Try one more thing and then we'll move on. Let's create a brand new event group. I'll have to follow up with the team with this, but I do have a quick video so we actually can show how those events render. They didn't demo that either. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to follow up with our product team to see why the events are not actually rendering with our keywords. So our next feature that we'll be demoing is Recaptcha. We've added Recaptcha for all events that do not require payment or have pay later enabled. This will be defaulted to off for all of our orgs. So if you want to opt into this feature, please reach out to Blackthorne support. So let's go into one of our events. And sorry, before I jumped ahead, did anyone else have any question on how event keywords work? Okay, so we'll click into one of our events. We'll go to our free event. click register. And you'll see I'm not a robot. Any questions on the Recaptcha feature? And this is for only for free events or events with pay later enabled. And our last feature is enabling cookies. With the implementation of Google Tag Manager, we must now support compliance with data laws. This is done by prompting the attendee to accept cookies when loading an event page. Again, this is opt-in only, so if you would like to opt into this feature, please reach out to Blackthorne support. While this is not yet enabled in my org, I do have a video I would like to show. So as you can see, the user is prompted to accept. And again, this is opt-in, and if you like this feature, please reach out to Blackthorne support. Jamie, good question. So let's actually go back to that event. So say I come back to that event. He'll still ask for Recaptcha. So next we have a couple key enhancements we want to walk to. First off is our attendee registration lightning component now allows for attendee groups and also custom questions. So let's click in, we're in our free unpaid event. We have our attendee registration lightning component here. We'll click select. This one does not have custom questions. So I'll first walk through the attendee groups and then we'll show another event that has questions. So at our first attendee, we now have email opt-in that shows by default. We'll click preview and we'll go in and add a new attendee. So let's find Jason and we'll add him as well. So we have 2 attendees, 1 transactions. Once I submit, both these attendees will be tied to one attendee group. So now let's go into our attendees. And you'll see Jason and Adam are tied to that Jake's demo virtual event 2 attendee group. Any questions on using the attendee registration lightning component with event groups? Next, I'll show you how our attendee registration lightning component works with custom questions. So we'll click in, we'll select the free ticket. And we'll find our existing contact or new contact. We'll click next. This shows our custom questions. So this supports conditional questions, attachments, big list options. So if I click into alumni, this one has a bit more detailed drop downs. I can upload a file as well. Any questions on that? Awesome. Next, we've added a new button for reprocessing failed. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I can't type fast enough. I guess I missed the very beginning of that. So you clicked on an event lightning component on the page to register people manually. Is that what you did?
Yep, we have a lightning component. It's the attendee registration lightning component where you can use essentially taking that event registration process and allowing your back office staff to register attendees.
That's great. I didn't know about that. Thank you.
And I can show you real quick, just so, for those who are not familiar, if I go into edit object and edit my lightning layout, And under here, we can search for Blackthorne. Give it a second to load. So Brenna, this component right here, it's Blackthorne Attendee Events. And that gives you the opportunity to use this component in the back office.
Thank you so much. That's great.
Hey, Adam, quick question.
Yep.
So we use that lightning feature, but within our Salesforce contact record, our call center, that's how they register students for events. Would that be showing up in the contact record as well with all the new features?
Yep, exactly. Same thing. So if I go to my contact and we'll go to register and we'll find my event. You'll get the same exact features, attendee groups, and all of your custom questions.
Awesome, and it auto-populates their contact info for you?
Exactly, yep.
Woo, cool.
Awesome. And Brenda, that's a good note for you. It's not just at the event level too. You can do it for contacts, person accounts, and leads.
Thank you.
And John, that's correct. The event group will be automatically created. And Theben, the attendee registration lightning component is not new, but the features we're adding custom questions and the attendee groups is new. So in the last couple of minutes we have. So for those, I think, I'm not sure if it was Theben or we had a couple customers that were running into issues where their form submission records were not processing. So say you had your answer mapped to the wrong field or you didn't have custom forms version 2 enabled. We now have a button under batch jobs that will actually rerun the form submission batch job on any failed submissions. Any questions on that? So next on the attendee record, we can now directly add the form submission answers related list. So if I go into any of my attendees, you'll see I've already added this, but I now have my form submission answers related list right here. So I no longer have to click in to the form submission to view those answers. I can now just click into that related list and view all those answers right from this screen. Any questions on that? And then 2 features in the last couple of minutes that I wanted to quickly overview. So we have most of you have seen our form preview button. We've made some enhancement to this with the drag and drop in arrows. So if I click into any of my forms, click form preview. So say I want to drag this, what year did you graduate down? You'll now see little line breaks where you're dragging. Or say I want to use arrows to move upload, please upload a photo of yourself. I can move that all the way up or down using arrows. Any questions on that? And that was just a slight improvement to our form preview UI. And then our last feature is our enhancement is our calendar event group now supports data dictionary. So for instance, in my test event, I updated free for the event group listing to show free event. So we'll go back into my event group. We'll change this to the calendar UI. And we'll do a hard refresh. And if I scroll down now, instead of saying free, it says free event. So all of your data dictionary entries will work at the event group level with the calendar UI. Any questions with our last minute? We have a couple notable bugs I wanted to review, but wanted to see if anyone had any questions on our features, enhancements that we've gone over so far. Awesome. So 3 notable bugs. Our authorization issues with WebEx have been fixed. We fixed the error that displays when creating new WebEx account and authorizing that webinar account. We've also addressed the bug where big list groups are only showing up to 2,000 options. This has been improved and you should no longer see this limitation. And last but not least, for those using communities, when using visibility control, we have reduced the amount of time it takes for changes to visibility fields to be reflected on the community. For instance, we had one customer that was updating their visibility controls, which are a way to give a specific journey based on if an attendee is a member or not within their community. So they were using Process Builder to make updates, and those updates on their community were taking 5 to 15 minutes to update. Now this will be real time. And then last but not least, for those using our Redwood UI, we found a few critical items that are not supported surrounding capacity and event settings. So we've decided to temporarily remove the new UI until January 2021. For those that are comfortable using, continue testing using this UI. Just please note there are some features and settings that are not available yet. So any existing customer can still use the Redwood UI, but for new installs, this has been removed as an option. Any questions before we wrap up with today's webinar?
Adam, I'm still having issues with the keywords loading in the back end, but I'll shoot you an email or I can submit a ticket for this one. I'm not sure.
Go ahead and
us or
submit a
me.
ticket and I'll review that.
Thank you.
And I'll reach out to our product team to see, hopefully it's just my org where the events aren't rendering with the keywords. So I'll have to dig into that. And thank you guys. And please, as you begin using these new features, especially the keywords in the event builder, please send us feedback. You have our support information. And also in our follow-up email, I'll be sending out, we have a new link to for our customer success community, which you can use to actually submit cases. And I'll include that link in the follow-up email that includes the webinar recording as well. Any other questions before we drop off for the day? Thank you guys and have a great one. I'll be sending a follow-up email with the webinar and I'll include our new community URL as well.